Trust meteorologist Tim Strong for your first alert. Live from Augusta, you're watching News 1226 this morning.
A haze in a plane. Passengers heading to South Carolina had to cover up and figure out where they'd land. We're going to hear from one local passenger who shares how she felt.
And the search continues this morning in Aiken County for a suspect investigators say is armed and dangerous after a standoff in New Elleton. The latest on that investigation just ahead.
A lot to get to this morning, but first, good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Nick Proto.
And I'm Ashley Campbell. It is 6 o'clock on your Tuesday. Sending it over to Tim now with our current temps this morning as you head out the door.
Yep, they're in the 30s and 40s midweek. Rain chances, there may be a little mention before the week is up. We'll get to that and much more in the planner coming up shortly here at 6:02.
A call for the New Elleton community today. Be cautious and report any suspicious activity.
Law enforcement is currently searching for a man they say shot a gun in a home yesterday morning that led to a standoff on Northern Street and Dry Branch Road with the suspect taking off. Your Audrey Dickherber is outside the New Elleton police station this morning with what we know so far about this investigation. Audrey.
Yeah, it started out as what we were first hearing as a shooting, then went to a standoff, then went to a search. Now take a look at some of the scene footage that we shot yesterday of whenever we first arrived. We got there and there was over 10 law enforcement vehicles that were out there at the time. SWAT was also out there. There was multiple drones up in the sky. Neighbors, family were all standing around. We actually heard some people screaming, very concerned about what was going on inside the house, because at the time it was believed that Christopher Parker was inside of the home. So a lot of efforts went towards trying to get him to come outside. Now, actually, one of our photographers heard, police trying to get Parker to come outside of the building, and actually they sent a drone inside of the house as well before SWAT actually went in themselves. Now, upon further investigation, they found out that he was no longer in the home, and when we were out there, we actually saw law enforcement all pick up very quickly and leave. That then led to this big search all throughout the county that has honestly continued on into this morning, because he is still on the loose. Now, they're still looking for any whereabouts of him and where he could potentially be. And he's also making threats online on social media as well. So here's what the police chief has to say about that.
He's making multiple threats to harm innocent people on his social media, and we're taking those very seriously. Again, we're keeping units in the area, steadily patrolling, so that way we can ensure our citizens are safe.
Now, they have been taking this whole thing very seriously, just like he said. They are still canvassing the area. They are still looking for him. Now, what they have told us so far is he is believed to have left the area, is what they think. But, again, their search efforts are still there. So if you see something, say something to them, and ultimately keep yourself safe first.
That is the number one thing. A very tense scene out there yesterday, Audrey, about 3 hours long as they were in that standoff over in New Elleton. We'll continue to keep you updated on air and online as we get more updates. Audrey Dickherber live there in New Elleton for us today.
And this is the best photo that we have of Parker right now. It's when he was arrested back in 2012. We are working to get an updated one. Investigators say that he's about 5'11", weighing around 200 pounds. He was last seen in a black tank top and pants. If you see him or have any information regarding this case, call 911.
A neighborhood in shock as 2 kids are dead from a home fire near Gloverville Park early yesterday morning. Crime scene tape now wraps around that home on Pine Street. The Aiken County coroner says 4 kids in total and their mother went to 2 area hospitals. He says 6-year-old Soraya Jordan and her 8-year-old sister Deandalyn died around 2 a.m. A 3rd child is in critical condition. The coroner says the mother and her 4th child received treatment for non-life-threatening injuries. We found out their neighbors tried to do everything they could to save the family.
We were in the bed asleep, and my dog went crazy. He was barking. I knew something was wrong. So when I got to the door, all I seen was the house. It was in flames.
Oh, the glass busted, and the lady screaming for help what got my attention. But Then that was it, and then just glass busting and stuff busting on the inside.
Autopsies will be done in Newberry to confirm the cause of death. Then Aiken County deputies and SLED agents will assist in the investigation.
The Saluda County Coroner's Office is investigating the death of a 20-year-old. The coroner says deputies contacted them about an investigation this past weekend somewhere on the northern side of the county. They say the victim is Tristan Grigsby. An autopsy has been scheduled. We're going to keep you updated on this developing story. A 17-year-old in Saluda County is behind bars this morning. Zachary Jones is charged with murder, desecration of human remains, and more. He's being charged as an adult. We have reached out to investigators to get more details on this case. Authorities say that his arrest happened after a call came in from the northern part of the county. Again, we'll keep you updated online as we learn more.
A 27-year-old is dead and a teen is in critical condition from a single car accident over the weekend. This is in connection to the one we told you about from Clark Station Church Road in Wilkes County. The EMS director says the victim was Stanley Walton. We've reached out to other agencies for details on that crash.
An Orangeburg man facing charges this morning. The sheriff's office arrested 60-year-old Harry Wolf this weekend. He's charged with murder and arson. He's accused of setting a woman on fire on February the 8th. Now, the arrest warrant states 60-year-old Michelle Gillis died from her burns 5 days ago.
Wolf was in the hospital himself for a time. The incident report accusing him of crashing into an emergency fire vehicle while leaving the scene. He had to get treatment for his injuries. A plane bound for Colombia from Atlanta had to turn around. Video from one of the passengers showed a smoke-like haze start building inside. Delta says the slides were deployed once the plane made it back to the ground. We learned one of the 99 people on board was from Aiken. She says the first thing she noticed was a burning smell, then saw that haze.
Once they turned the plane around and we knew that the captain or the pilot had, access, he knew what was going on. They turned the plane around, and once we kind of saw that and we were descending, I feel like that helped a lot of people around to just calm down.
The FAA says they'll investigate what led up to that incident.
It's now been 6 years since a 19-year-old lost her life in a low-country boat crash. We're talking about Mallory Beach, where officers believe that the boat she was on was driven by a drunk Paul Murdaugh, the now murdered son of Alec Murdaugh. The Beach family continues to hope South Carolina lawmakers are going to create stricter underage drinking laws. In a recent post from the family attorney, he claims that the state is considering a bill that would do the opposite.
A case in South Carolina is far from over. Last week, a jury convicted a Juilliard trained pianist for the murder of a mother. Zachary Hughes testified he stabbed Christina Parcell in 2021 to save her child from possible abuse. Now, another man could be held accountable. During that trial, authorities arrested John Mello. He's the father of Parcell's child and spent years battling over custody. He's also close friends with Hughes. Hughes testified that Mello offered to pay him to kill Parcell. That's what led to his charges for accessory before the fact to a felony and more. He is in jail and was denied bond. Greenville County deputies have known of Mello. He's been arrested twice since Parcell's death. One case was dismissed. Charges are still pending in a 2023 filing accusing him and Hughes of conspiring to harass Parcell leading up to her death.
There's some confusion this morning for federal workers. Elon Musk, the head of...
Coming up, a mother is ready to share the story of her heart. After starting a family, she thought her symptoms showed postpartum problems. Turns out she needed more help to live. How she's still here today. Next.
We still have chilly temps in the morning here. Look over Grovetown as more and more traffic picks up. 30s and 40s making their way into some warm 70s as we move into the middle of the week. That's all coming up.
And as we head to break, giving you a live look right now at Grovetown at I-20 is 610.
All right, thanks, Tim. A mom in Maryland is raising awareness that heart disease can affect everyone.
Shortly after giving birth, Kristen King started having symptoms similar to your normal postpartum issues, but it turned out that the new mother's heart was failing. Natalie Brand shares her story.
Kristen King counts every day as a blessing.
Life can stop at any point in time, and you never know when that will be. I was healthy. I had never had a heart problem in my life. and I needed a complete new organ.
She's talking about the heart transplant she received in September of 2023, 4 months after her heart began to fail after childbirth.
I started having problems breathing in the middle of the night. I wasn't able to lay down. I wasn't able to drink or eat.
We checked up all the symptoms after pregnancy.
That's when King's husband Gavin insisted she go to the ER. It turns out she was suffering from peripartum cardiomyopathy. Doctors say the condition is rare but can happen in the last month of pregnancy or within a few months of delivery. Symptoms include fatigue, heart palpitations, and shortness of breath.
Be your own advocate for your own health, meaning if you really feel something is not right and something's off, seek care.
Dr. Philip Lamb, a heart failure and transplant cardiologist at Washington Hospital Center, describes King's case as rare and very aggressive. She remained hospitalized, her newborn Gage at home while she waited for a donor. 11 hours of surgery later, King had a new shot at life. She now wears a bracelet to honor her donor and all they've given her.
Every day I just imagined my family and not being there for them and what their lives would be like.
King is now about a year and a half into what her family describes as a lifelong recovery.
It's kind of surreal. Like I said, I have little moments that mean the world to me.
Where's baby Gage? A fight she never expected, but one that's put everything in perspective. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Maryland.
Kristen also wants to raise awareness about the importance of donors. It's estimated that there's more than 100,000 people on the waiting list for an organ transplant nationwide.
Happening today here at home, Augusta commissioners will meet at the committee level.
Design. Shop MasterBuickGMC.com.
Hi, Suzanne Lily Honeymichael here with Hardwood Floors and More. We truly appreciate the opportunities we've had to work in so many homes over the years. And now we want to invite you to our showroom to discover why we are the company that friends recommend. Our quality products, knowledgeable staff, and the tremendous skill set of our technicians is what has made Hardwood Floors and More the most trusted locally owned business for over 30 years. Hardwood Floors and More, so much more in store for you.
The middle of the week. It is now 6:24.
A new survey finds most Americans support a cell phone ban in schools, and Joann Fabrics is going out of business and closing all of its stores. Jane King is at the New York Stock Exchange with those stories and more in this morning's business report. Good morning, Jane.
Good morning. Fabric and craft retailer Joann is officially shutting down all of its stores. The company filed for bankruptcy in January for a second time in less than a year. Now, at first, it said it would keep its stores open and work on paying down debt. However, Monday it reversed course and said it would close all of its stores. Many of these stores are having going out of business sales. Well, the changes at Starbucks continue. This time, the company is cutting 1,100 workers. It's also dropping 13 drinks from the menu. Among the menu items disappearing are 9 of the chain's Frappuccino drinks. And stocks still have the jitters. The Dow did close higher Monday by 33 points, but the Nasdaq fell sharply, losing more than 200. Consumers have voiced frustration about the in-store shopping experience amid reduced staff, locked displays, and long self-checkout lines. The Wall Street Journal says there's a new gripe: not enough items on shelves. Online shopping has diverted merchandise away from physical stores, leaving the stores with fewer things to sell. And 7 in 10 Americans would support a cell phone ban in schools. 54% advocate for a ban in elementary schools, with sentiment lessening the older a child is. 49% for middle school and 45% are for a ban on phones in high schools. Now, the survey was conducted by Talker Research, and it saw the biggest reason to support a ban is to worry about distracting them from education, followed by the overall worry that children are on devices just too long in general. From the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Jane King with your morning business report.
There's a trend making the rounds on social media: drinking raw milk. That is when you get it straight from the cow, unpasteurized.
Now, some people in the region find that there is nutritional benefits. One man from York, South Carolina says he takes a 2.5-hour trip for a couple of gallons.
To me, it has a much better taste. Really does seem to help with recovery from workouts.
South Carolina is one of 11 states that does allow people to drink raw milk. Doctors are against this, though. One from Atrium Health says it comes with risks.
A person is over 800 times more likely to develop an illness from unpasteurized milk, which is the raw milk.
The CDC backs up those numbers. The agency found raw milk can lead to salmonella, E. coli, and other bacteria contaminations you do not want. Okay, I'll take my milk pasteurized, please.
Yes, definitely.
All right, then. Well, we're about here to the bottom of the hour. The Parkinson's Revolution Ride coming up March the 1st here, so just a few days away at Cycle Bar in Evans. We're going to be looking at a pretty decent setup for today. Those temperatures are going to be nice and warm coming into the 70s here for today. A little chilly with 30s and 40s. That's where most of our morning temps will land, but middle 70s. Small chance for rain. Not really a whole lot coming our way for the next 7 days. Friday and into the weekend, fantastic. Upper 60s and low 70s. Bottom of the hour is on the way, 6:27.
In schools across
at participating locations, visit CircleK.com for details.
Thank you for watching News 12 on your side.
It's the coldest time of year in the CSRA. To stay up to date on anything winter weather to severe weather, download our First Alert Weather app to get the most accurate forecast in our area.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 1226 this morning.
We're continuing to follow a fire in South Carolina that took the lives of 2 children, injuring 2 others.
And a local business expo is returning to Augusta after more than a decade. We're going to have that and more coming up in just a few minutes. But first, good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Nick Proto.
And I'm Ashley Campbell. It is 6:30 on your Tuesday. Sending things over to Tim with what we can expect this morning as you head out the door.
Well, most areas are clear as far as visibility goes. We've been watching this couple 5 to 7 day trend. Looks like above average highs are going to continue here. So much more on this warm outlook as we move through the midweek coming up in just a little bit. 6:32.
New this morning, a Barnwell County man has been arrested in connection to a recent death. Deputies say Willis Williams is charged with manslaughter and more for a man's drug-related death on the 12th. Williams is in jail and has had a bond hearing up to this point. We've reached out to the sheriff's office for more details on the case. Authorities are still searching for a suspect involved in a SWAT situation in New Ellington. Aiken County deputies are urging people to report any suspicious activity.
Yesterday, police responded to reports of a man shooting a gun inside a home that led to a standoff, with him escaping an hour later.
This is the latest photo we have of the suspect, Christopher Parker. He was booked back in 2012 for a separate case. Authorities say he was last seen wearing a black tank top and pants and is considered armed and dangerous.
Your Audrey Dickover is live now at the New Ellendon Police Department with what we know so far.
It started out as what we originally heard was a shooting, then led to a standoff, then turned into a search, all to find Christopher Parker. Now, what we do know so far is that he is still on the run and hasn't been found yet. Now, take a look at some of the scene footage that we actually took yesterday. Whenever I first got on scene, we saw more than 10 law enforcement vehicles and multiple SWAT trucks, all trying to put in efforts towards finding him. Now, they actually had multiple drones up in the sky. Lots of neighbors and family members were out in the area wondering what was going on. We actually heard some screams and some concern as to what was happening inside of the house, because at the time it was actually believed that he was inside of the house. They were all outside of. They actually sent a drone inside of the house before SWAT in as well. So you can really tell they had a lot of technology efforts really going into finding him and trying to do it as safe as possible. Well, once SWAT got inside, they realized that Parker was no longer in the house. That's when a lot of law enforcement vehicles then quickly picked up, left, and went all around the county, and that's when the search began. Now, they were in the standoff for quite a few hours yesterday, which then led us to today, where this search is still happening. And we know that a lot of threats were also made online as well towards the community, towards the public, bringing in even more concern. So here's what the chief had to say about that yesterday.
He is still believed to be in possession of a handgun, unknown on how much ammunition he has. So we plead with you to, if you see anybody in this area that appears to be carrying a firearm, please go ahead and call 911 and have individuals notify us to respond back to this area, as we're still going to remain in this area canvassing to see if we can locate him as soon as possible to bring this to a peaceful end.
Now, they are taking a lot of these social media threats very seriously that are being posted online. And they did tell me, the police department did tell me that he is believed to not be in the area anymore. But that doesn't mean that they're lining up on anything whenever it comes to search efforts and trying to find Parker. So if you see something suspicious, if you know of anything or his whereabouts, contact the department.
All right, thank you, Audrey, live in New Ellington, as we continue to follow this story as it unfolds.
6:35 now. 2 children are dead, 2 more injured after a fire in Gloverville, South Carolina. We first brought you this story yesterday morning as it was unfolding on Pine Street.
The Aiken County coroner says 6-year-old Soraya Jordan and her 8-year-old sister Deandalyn died. A third sibling in critical condition this morning. Another sibling and their mother do have non-life-threatening injuries. Your Holly Turner reports.
Not much remains of this brick home on Pine Street after it went up in flames early Monday morning. And neighbors say February 24th is a day they won't ever forget.
A call for help echoing out at 12:50 Monday morning sent neighbors on Pine Street running.
I heard the woman screaming for help, so I come out the door and walked around the side of the trailer. And I told my mama, I said, the house behind us is on fire. Call 911.
When Heather Hall reached her front door,
All I seen was the house in flames. And I heard her screaming, and that's when I ran over there.
inside the home, several children trapped by the flames.
So I busted the front door down, and I got the little boy out. And then I got on the ground, turned my phone, kept a light on my phone, and tried to crawl on the ground. I couldn't make it no farther than the living room.
The 6-year-old Soraya Jordan and her sister 8-year-old Deandalyn Jordan didn't make it out.
They done the best they could. It took them a while to find the girls, like I said, because when we were trying to get into the house, to the windows, whatever, we could hear the kids crying for the mom, and it was you just hear them fading, the cry fade away, and it was sad.
The Aiken County coroner says both girls died around 2 a.m. and now their front yard, once filled with laughter, sits still.
You never know when something like that's going to get close to home to you. And for me, across the street, seeing them every day, going to school, out just playing around, locking their mama out of the house, and locking her out the car, and sitting in the window laughing.
It's things like that Heather Hall says she'll miss the most. In Gloverville, Hallie Turner on your side.
Such an extremely sad story there. The cause of that fire is still under investigation this morning, and SLED is assisting with the case. Augusta leaders continuing to discuss the
Still ahead, parents and teachers demanding answers from Georgia lawmakers over the rollout of a new bill. We'll show you what some lawmakers are trying to do after the break.
Looks like some really nice weather coming our way for today and maybe for that outdoor expo headed into the weekend. We're still early in the week. We've got a nice commute setting up here. We've got skies that are mainly clear. We're talking about the big warm-up that's going to continue through the middle of the week next.
Here at the Edgefield Book.
Tim, parents and teachers are demanding a hearing with state lawmakers. They say Georgia's school voucher program rollout is a failure, and they want it repealed immediately. Your State House reporter, Abby Kasouris, explains.
You may call them school vouchers or scholarships depending on who you're talking to. Students in some of the lowest performing schools in our state eligible for $6,500 towards a private education. Applications open this weekend, but some members here in the Georgia House wanting to repeal the program before even a single dollar is handed out.
Parents are really operating at a loss.
After months of releasing and re-releasing the list of lowest performing schools, Heather Scotty says she wasn't shocked to learn dozens of DeKalb County schools made the list. She feels the estimated $144 million for vouchers would be better served by investing in public education.
Taking a voucher and diverting it into a private school system does not provide an adequate pathway into positive outcomes.
House Democrats sponsoring a bill to repeal the program altogether, and they're hopeful they can get the votes. Last year, the Georgia Promise Scholarship Act passed by just one vote in the House. Dozens of Republicans split from their party. They're looking to Republican Education Chairman Chris Irwin to hear their bill.
I'm definitely willing to listen to any group on what we can do for what's best for our children.
Irwin says the governor's Office of Student Achievement's expansive eligibility requirements requirements do not fit lawmakers' legislative intent. If you reside in an attendance zone of at least one school on the list, you meet the requirement. It doesn't have to be the school that your child currently attends. If your child is currently in elementary school that's not on the list but is zoned for a high school that is, or vice versa, you are eligible.
That's where the conversation needs to go if we can fulfill the spirit of the bill.
The Governor's Office of Student Achievement says the parents will be notified after the applicant portal closes sometime in early 2025, and they'll start receiving the money before next school year. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Kasouris.
South Carolina lawmakers are trying to reinstate a private school voucher program. One of the bill's problems is funding for the vouchers after the state Supreme Court struck down the bill for using taxpayer money.
Taking a quick break, but first, giving you a live look here in Grovetown at 6:48.
I'm Tony DeCoble.